What am I up to today? It's another DIY project. After I've now affixed 4 solar panels to the roof and with a maximum output of 720 watts, most days, being summer still at the moment, I have plenty of excess solar. Even on a dull, quite dreary day today, my batteries are already full up and it's just gone 20 to 11 in the morning. So yeah, plenty of power. So this is something I've been thinking about doing for a while. I'm going to put in what's commonly known as a solar dump. So I must say, before I carry on with this video, this is the way I did it video, not a how-to video. I accept no responsibility if you copy this and it all goes wrong. This is a total disclaimer. Right, let's get on with the video. Which means the excess energy I'm producing from my solar panels, rather than just not being used, I'm going to convert that energy coming in, send it down a wire through a few gizmos to a heating element in my hot water tank, to the immersion element in my hot water tank, and make free hot water, basically. I know you have to buy all the bits and pieces to do it, but at the point of usage, it's free. So what am I going to do all this with, perhaps you're asking? Well, there's a few things I need to do, and I'll tell you what they are. So there's a few things I need to do. There's a few controllers I need to put in. The first one I'm going to put in is this, which I think cost me about £8 or £9 on Amazon. And this is the voltage controller. From my bus bars, I've got the power cable coming, well, not directly to this. The power cable will be coming to a relay. Quite a simple relay, 4-connector relay. One's basically power in, power out through the switch, and the other connects to this to tell the relay basically it'll work. I'll show you here. I did connect these together, but I thought it'd be easier to show it like this. So here's one of the relays, and I've got, well, obviously the backing of another relay here. So you have your power coming in on your red cable, as normal. Then your power going out on your blue cable, which, because I'm using 2 different relays here, that blue cable will connect to that red cable, so that'll be the power in also for the second relay, and then the power out from that relay, which will go to the immersion. Here's the quite simple, straightforward relays I'm using. They're 40 amp, 12 volt, 4-pin relay. Basically, you've got your switch, which is across. I can't read the numbers on the back of that one, and that one is your switch. And these two, your black and your white cable here, go to this unit here. And what this unit here is doing is, when we wire this up, this white cable comes into the switch there, and then we have also coming off the power source into a switch, which will a lower power, obviously. We need 16.6 amps to run through this cable to go to the immersion. That's what the immersion runs at, is 200 watts, 12 volts. So through the switch, which is not the main feed for this, but it comes off the main feed for this, if that makes sense. So you've got power coming to these units. So you've got power from the switch, which I don't actually have at the moment, so I can't show the switch. It's turning on for a couple of days. I'll show you all when it's all completed anyway. So from the switch, we'll have power coming to there, looping across to there, and also coming into there. So that's that side of it. And then obviously, you know, that's the white one. And then on the black cable, the black cable comes into that one there. That's the neutral or negative cable. So that's how that is wired up, and that's that bit basically for the wiring. That's the voltage controller. So as I say, it's coming from the bus bar. So from the bus bars, I can control voltage is high enough. So when my batteries are full, and I'm going to set it at 14.4 volts, which MPPT controller from the solar panels is set at. That's when the batteries are full, 14.4 volts. So we'll carry on from there. So the thick blue cable here will connect to the red cable here on the next relay, and then the blue cable here on that relay will go on to the immersion heater. In between, we'll have this setup, which is the temperature control setup for when it kicks on and off. So obviously, not only do we want to be able to switch it off when the voltage drops to a certain degree, because we don't want to hurt our batteries, we also want to be able to switch it off when it gets too hot or gets to a certain heat. I haven't exactly decided what temperatures to set this at the moment. Well, this is a maximum heat, obviously, when it will switch itself off. This has got a little probe on it, which ideally would go inside the tank. I can't get it to go inside the tank, so I'm going to tape it with some thermal tape onto the copper piping, which is on the hot feed out of the tank. So it's going to give it, probably the hottest point it will be in the tank is around that area, which will probably mean I will need to set the temperature on here slightly higher, because it's going to be reading probably the hottest water in the tank. So to get a full tank of hot water, I'll probably have to set this quite high. Not sure yet. I'll play that by ear as it goes along, trial and error basically, what's going to be the best setting for me. So just like the other relay, we have the feeds coming from the switch side again, coming into the plus side here, and we have the obviously the black cable coming off in here from the negative side. That's not directly from the switch. My negative cable coming in, that's where it all comes off from. That makes sense. Just about makes sense to me. I've spent a lot of hours looking this up as well. So I've dragged the cable through now. I didn't film pushing it all around the back. I haven't actually finished connecting it all up yet. Here's my positive, which is going to go up here on the positive bus bar. And here's my negative, which is obviously going to come in here on the negative bus bar. You can get the gist. I've got to run the cable and tighten up. I'll show you it again when I get to the other end. This is the controller that's going to look at the voltage coming in, and basically if the voltage drops below a certain voltage, it will cut off. If it's above a certain voltage, it will cut in. Just drill some holes down through the backboard here. This is a bit of old flooring here actually. I'm going to use to mount everything on. I'm going to cut it all out once I get outside and use the jigsaw. And I'm going to put a piece in behind this so it slightly comes off the wall, so I'm put all the wiring in behind there. I'll show you what I'm doing in a moment, but these wires at the moment will go, this is just loose at the moment. Wires are going to come down through these holes. And then they can be all connected up behind it. So yeah, that's the idea anyway. I'm going to get on with it, and I'll come back to you later. I've just mounted the relays here. I've got to cut the hole out here, so I need to get outside when it stops raining to do that. And that'll get inserted in there, and that's the temperature sensor. So when it comes on and off, yeah, so slowly getting there. And I'm going to put a big switch up here, which will cut all the power off. Then there's going to be an intermediate switch here for the switching of the controllers. Yeah, it's all in my head. I'll show you the wires as we go on. So that's the next stage I now have done. I've got the relays in place, all the wiring going through the back, all coming out, all the wires coming through there, say through here. So the next job will be to cut the hole out there, but it's still raining, so I can't do that to get those wires through. But I can connect up the wires from here, which will go to here, and get that ready. I'm still in the kitchen, so I've just been doing it over the sink. I've got a sink full of sawdust now. I've cut out the hole here. I've just dropped the probe through, and hopefully will fit in there. Oh, yes. I'm going to have to use both hands. What it is, where the bit's in to actually hold it in, I've just got to push it firmly. So I'm just going to put the camera to one side while I do that. So here goes. I should just push in, he says. Perhaps it's just a little tight. I'm just going to take a little bit more out. Yeah, you see where it's just there. It won't quite go past these lugs, which I've got to push in like so. So I'm just going to take a fraction off the centre at each end, just so these lugs will go by. They are sort of springy. Let's take that out of the way, and I'll just do that. Push it all the way home, because I won't have problems getting it back out again, and I want to wire it up before I actually fit it in tightly. So next job is to do some wiring. I'm going to put the electronics inside the cupboard here. See all the mess I've been making. I've just sort of temporarily hung it up there. Obviously the covers and all to go back on yet, and I have the switch to fit in here. Until I get the switch, I can't actually do any more. So at the moment, we'll take it off the wall there. We've got a bundle of cables everywhere. That bundle of cables will get tidied up as soon as I got the switch, and then I can connect everything up, and hey presto, we'll be ready to go, we hope. So yeah, so I'll just put it back, the shelf back in here. The shelf goes in behind here. I give it plenty of room here just in case. Well, actually, the back wall moves around, so you don't quite know where it is, because the back wall's a bit spongy. So I cut it so when the wall's forward. So yeah, it's all in there. All the wiring, of course, goes behind here. I haven't put a piece on the top here because the main electrics is going to come in from there into the switch. Although it might come in from the bottom, actually, up to the switch. Haven't quite decided that yet. I will do. Now to tidy up and watch the British Grand Prix. Well, here we have it. I've completed my electrics panel board here, whatever you want to call it. The main power comes into here, which is actually from two wires down here, which will connect to a chocolate block, and the cables come up through and connect to the back of this, which is the main power. Now that main power runs down to the relays here, and off of the main power line is this switch here. You'll see here, which switches off and on, obviously, which controls the units here and here. So let's turn it over, and I'll show you basically what's going on the other side. So here we have it, look. So here's the main switch behind here, which comes the negative and the positive running down here, and here's the main wire here, which is the in. So the live comes out of here. You can see the live here cable, and I've got a connector going to that live cable to a 2 amp fuse, which comes to the switch, and then from the switch we go to this connector here, which is a 5-way connector. This is the behind here where these wires are going in here. These are the wires which are going to the voltage controller here. So the voltage controller can be set when it comes on and when it goes off when the battery's at certain levels. So that's the wires coming out of there, which connects also to this switch, which then runs down to the first relay, So you've got the cables coming to the first relay here, and then the second relay here, and the main feed, the main positive, comes into the first relay here, and then the outlets, or the positive outlet, then connects to the second relay here, and then that carries on here, which will go to the tank. And then here is the temperature control unit, which also picks up its power just for the control unit, because don't forget, these control units control the relay. So this relay here, which is connected up obviously to, you can't see it behind there again, those link to the first relay, and the temperature control relay, or control unit, links to the second relay. Hope that all makes some sort of sense. I've used a hot glue gun to actually glue this stuff down, just so all the cables just don't rise up. There's a couple, I'll put a couple of little pins in on some of the thicker cables, but mainly it's all held together with a hot glue gun. It's a good way of just sticking things together, really. These are stuck down with a hot glue gun, this is stuck down with a hot glue gun, and the cables are just stopped from rising up with a hot glue gun, because obviously I'll try to keep it in within the parameters I made with these two pieces of wood, just to tidy it all up. And I'll show you next it in situ. Just showing you here now what I've put together. I'll film it inside. It's actually chucking it down outside. Nice being out in natural daylight, but yeah, it's on my worktop between my cooker and my sink here. So what I've done is, this is not necessary, but I'll put in a switch which will kill off all power coming to it. I've watched a lot of videos on this and nobody else has done it, but I want to be able to turn it off, everything off quickly if I want to. So it's just going to be that switch, quickly on off. Probably not necessary, as I say, but it was a sort of an extra thing from me. The reason, one of the reasons is because if I want to use something like the air fryer or something like that, I can't be heating my water with the excess power at the same time. So rather than trying to mess around, I just decided I'm going to put, but then I suddenly remembered this switch would turn it off anyway, but there you go. Because if you're turning these off, obviously they're not going to work, but you still have power running through your relays, just not doing anything. Anyway, that knocks off all the power. So here we have the no we don't. Here we have the voltage regulator, or whatever you want to call it. You set in your, it's not a regulator, it's when it will come in. So say I set it, once my batteries are full, at 14.4 volts, because I got lead acid batteries. So once my batteries are up to there, this will kick in and start to heat the water. It's now all back in situ where it should be going. Switches up there, and when I measured this up, I did measure to make sure that when these shelves went back in, it missed the cables there. So it just comes in above the cables. And likewise down the bottom here, I cut a hole in the shelf so I can go down to the tank. Otherwise it's all here now. All I need is the tank, and try it out, of course.
Mayhem.
So I've gone away from using this now, which is a 3/4 inch hole, because I could not find anyone that supplied what they call a 3/4 inch immersion to go in there. So I'm going to drill a hole in the tank to fit this, what is called a Essex flange. So that goes in, so we've got to drill a hole big enough to fit this into, and then that goes in there, and then we pull it back with these washers on here. When it's all apart, I'll show you a bit more. Anyway, I'm going to cut that hole. Going the right way?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're cutting your just putting some non-setting sealing paste on. Well, that's the flange in now. Now to put in the immersion heater and see how we go. Right, now to put the immersion in. It's been PTFT'd up to go in there, and then hopefully that's that bit done. Right, now for the moment of truth. All connected up. The tanks here all connected up. Switch it on. Switch it on here. Well, look at that. It's working. Well, it's not working because I haven't set anything yet I haven't done the settings, so I've got to do the settings now. And I'll come back in a few moments once I've set it all in. I can put the cover on now. Now what I'll do is set it and target things in, no voltage and everything. And that's just putting in the target voltage and everything. Well, right, let's get on with that. I've got to get to that, so I'm going to take the camera out of the way. It's a bit tight in here, so while I'm setting it up, and I'll show you when it's done. Right, so I've just set it all up. This voltage that's shown at the moment is the current voltage. I've just heard the refrigerator kick in, so that's probably what's just dropped down. But I've set it to come on at 14.2 volts and to go off at 13.2 volts. So it's not going to come on yet because we haven't reached 14.2 volts. It was nice and sunny a moment ago, and now the sun's gone in, so that hasn't helped either. The current temperature of the water is saying it's 17 degrees, and I put a target temperature of 55 degrees. That's Celsius. Wait and see now when I get enough electric. I could start the engine to test it, but I'm not going to. I want to see if it will come on and run on the solar. Well, it's now been on for about 2 hours, and we're up to 25.6 degrees. It is only a small immersion. It's only a 200 watt immersion, so I'm not surprised it's taken quite a long time to warm the water up. But if it's a nice bright sunny day, I have all day to warm it up anyway. And also, of course, it will work if I'm moving the boat and the engine's running. Well, since I've fitted that all in, it all works. The only problem is, as soon as I turn it on, after a few seconds, it's turning itself off. The voltage on the meter there is much lower than the actual voltage I'm showing on my battery monitor. It keeps switching itself off. So at the moment, I'll put a bypass piece of wire in, which goes straight from the switch to the other side of the relays. So I'm just operating it from the switch at the moment. I've got to look into it and see what I can do to stop that, but at the moment that's the way I'm operating it. But it's working, but I have to manually turn it off and on. It's not going to come off and on automatically, and I'll show you what I mean. So what I have here, it's only shown 10.6 volts, look. Not quite sure how good this is coming in, but I'm showing 22.3 amps coming in at the moment. So I'm showing 13.3 amps on my inverter here. On the MPPT controller, it is showing 13.7 volts. What I'm showing there, of course, is because the voltage meter for the solar controller is dropping off as soon as I switch it on and showing a very low voltage, it keeps switching itself off. So I don't know if I have to switch that now so that it shows coming on at a very low voltage. But I don't want to do that because then if my batteries are low, it will come on as well. So at the moment I'm just switching it on and off, and I'm doing it manually. I've got to look into it a bit more. Perhaps I need to wire that controller separate leads coming from my bus bar to there, rather than using the same power cable that's all being drawn off of for the immersion. That way perhaps I get a truer reading if I bring it directly from the bus bar. I'm leaving that as it is at the moment. I've got to think about it a bit more. But anyway, yes, I can make it work, but it's not working the way it's supposed to. someone can help me out on that, what the best idea is to sort that out. Meanwhile, well, thank you all for watching. Remember, it's not a tutorial, it's just the way I did it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you out there think I've done it completely wrong and I'm insane, but it works for me, so that's the way it's going to stay for now. Don't forget, if you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe and hit the old bell notification button and all options. That way YouTube will inform you every time I upload a new video. Well, that just leaves me to say thank you very much for watching. Trevor out.